Hello listeners and viewers, welcome to Kaduna State Ministry of Education Radio and TV e-learning program designed for our SS3 and other students staying at home due to the coronavirus pandemic. The present administration under the able leadership of His Excellency, Malam Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, is positioned as always to ensure that under his leadership, our students are not left behind in all areas of human endeavors, especially education. Kaduna State is the center of learning. Therefore, we want to ensure that our students excel in their forthcoming examinations and beyond. Students and other learners at home are given this opportunity in order to continue learning, as education is a continuous process. Different subjects will be taught in this program to assist students to perform excellently in the forthcoming Senior School Certificate examination being conducted by NECO and WAEC as soon as schools reopen. Teachers making presentations will always provide their names and phone numbers during each presentation, and they can be contacted for questions, further explanations, and/or clarifications. The following numbers and contacts can also be reached for expression of any concern or observation: 090-865-00545 or 080-383-62072. Our website is www.education.kdsg.gov.ng. Our email education@kdsg.gov.ng or education.kdsg@gmail.com. Our YouTube channel, Ministry of Education, Kaduna State. Our Twitter handle @Kaduna_MOE. Or our Facebook page, Ministry of Education, Kaduna State. Stay safe, stay at home, and learn well. Thank you, happy listening, and happy viewing.
Hello, student. This is radio, television, e-learning. The subject, geography. The topic is world trade. My name is Kamal Adamu Garba. Let's look at some of the outline of what we are going to discuss today. The meaning of world trade, types of international trade, factors influencing international trade, or reason for world trade, world's major shipping routes, the major commodity involved in world trade, Nigerians' principal trading partners, and the last but not the least, problem of international trade. First of all, students, let's define the meaning of world trade. The meaning of trade is the exchange of goods and services among nations. That is, trade between people, companies, organizations, and governments of different countries. International trade, therefore, can also be called external trade or foreign trade. It is the trade between two or more countries. For example, Nigeria, the trade between Nigeria and Japan, China and Niger. International trade can be divided into import and export. First of all, let's find out what is import trade. Import trade simply refers to the buying and selling. Buying, that is the buying and services rendered by other countries and bring them into one's own country. For example, Nigeria import cars and computer accessories. Export trade, therefore, deals with the sending out of goods produced or services rendered by one's own country to another country. For example, too, Nigeria may export cocoa or palm oil or petroleum products or technical, that is the services. Nigeria may export services. For example, we export technical experts to some other countries. International trade can also be divided into two. We have multilateral trade and bilateral trade. Multilateral trade simply involves trade transaction between one country to several other countries. For example, Nigerian trades with Ghana, Japan, and America, and so on. Bilateral trade, this involves trade transaction involving only two countries of the world. For example, Nigeria and China. That is to say, Nigeria and China trade together. That is bilateral trade. Students, I want you to take note of the difference. International trade, we have also internal trade, which can also be called interregional trade. If you don't want to call it interregional trade, you can call it home trade. It involves the buying and selling of goods and services within a region or a country. For example, trade between the northern states and the southern states. That is within your own country. Now, students, let's quickly look at the factors that influence international trade. If you don't want, in some textbooks, you will say factors influencing international trade. In other textbooks, they will say reason for world trade. So don't be confused when you see either factor influencing international trade or reason for world trade. Now, let's follow this thing step by step. Now, factors that influence international trade. 1, differences in natural resources. That is one of the factors. Differences in natural resources. If you look at this thing carefully, different parts of the world are blessed with different natural resources. For example, the climate, rocks, formation, soil, landscape conditions are different. This, therefore, creates the need for the exchange of resources between different places of the world. For example, Nigerian export crude oil to countries that do not have. Nigerian export crude oil to countries that do not have. We equally import raw materials that we use for our industries. The kind of raw materials we do not have too. That is the exchange of differences in natural resources. For example, now, if you look at it carefully, Nigeria, for example, Nigeria import wheat from USA or Canada because it does not produce enough wheat. Not that we do not have wheat. We do not produce wheat, but we don't have enough wheat. We had to import. Secondly, manpower. What do you understand by this word manpower? That is, some countries have abundant supply of both skilled and unskilled labor, manpower, than other countries. With abundant labor, can export such labor that can be migrated to other countries that do not have that. For example, if we look at some technical manpower that we required, you will discover that we have some Italians that will come to Nigeria to building our construction industries. For example, construction of roads, bridges. We equally have engineers, but we may not have enough that could be involved in that kind of in construction like that. Look at capital, the third one, capital, for example. Capital is very, very important. Some countries are very wealthy. Wealthy in the sense that rich and wealthy. They can export capital to invest in a country. For example, country like USA can import her money, capital, to come and invest in Nigeria, to poorer countries or developed countries. Example of those countries that are very wealthy, that bring their investment to other countries, like countries like Japan, USA, UK, Germany, and China. These countries are wealthy. They try to, even if you observe, our president last year went around some part of the world, countries, to seek for countries to come to this country and invest so that our industries can grow. That is why we encourage. That is why world trade is very, very important. The fourth one is the growth of industries. World trade encourages the growth of industries. Through international trade, the growth of industries is enhanced from either export or import of raw materials for the industries. For example, we have limestone in Nigeria on a commercial ground, but there are some raw materials that we need that we have to really add to it to come out with the real product. So that is why through this international trade, and in order to make our industry grow, we have to really enhance our industry through either export or import of raw materials. Students, let's equally take a look at world's major shipping routes. When we say shipping routes, we either export through these raw materials that are brought to this country. They follow a certain routes. And the ones that are being imported follow certain routes. So let's list some of these routes and talk about them gradually. One of the shipping routes is the North Atlantic route. This North Atlantic route is connected to North Europe and northeast of North America. It is termed as the most busy route in the world. Why is it termed as the most busy route in the world? The route is very, very vital that links two major populous, heavy industrial part of the world, like USA. This route is very, very busy. In your WAEC, In your exam, these are probable questions that you should be expecting because they are very, very important. Like the North Atlantic route, it is the most busy route we have, and very, very vital, that links the two countries, very populous, heavy industrial part of the world. Secondly, let's look at the Panama Canal route. The Panama Canal route, this is a domestic route between east and west coast of USA. This canal route has improved trade in the Caribbean countries, particularly Jamaica and Cuba. Now, you can see the importance of this Panama Canal route. It has really improved routes. It has really improved trade between these two countries, all these Caribbean countries. Now, let's look at the third one, the Cape of Good Hope. This Cape of Good Hope, it is termed as one of the oldest routes that is extensively used by ship trading between Europe and Australia. But when the Suez Canal was closed, its importance declined greatly because when it was closed due to some certain problems, the importance declined completely. With the opening of this canal in June, then what happened? It became very functional in 1975. The fourth one, not the last, is the South Atlantic route. It is believed to be the most important routes east-west of South America, Europe, South Africa, and West Africa. The largest volume of trade is between the eastern Brazil and Argentina. So if you look at this route, the volume of trade here is very, very high between these routes. It is one of the largest volume trade routes between these routes, Brazil and Argentina. Now, the fifth is the Trans-Pacific route. This route is the longest in distance and has an increased significance view of rapid economic development of this route is very, very important because it has a very, very important development between these countries. For example, if you look at some of the countries that benefited tremendously is west of USA, China, and Japan. There are other countries that really benefited as a result of these routes. Now, students, let's quickly look at the major commodity involved in world trade. If you look at it, Nigeria, I told you when we started, I said Nigeria is multilateral trade. Nigeria is involved in transactions with many countries. Now, the major commodity involved in trading in this world trade. One, we have heavy machineries and equipment. Machineries and equipment like tractors, aircraft, ship, petrochemical components, railway engines, and so on. That is the one we import to this country. That is heavy machines and equipment. All these things are being brought into this country. The second one is manufactured consumer goods. What do you understand by manufactured consumer goods? These are textiles material, like clothes. Textile material like clothes, shoes, cooking utensils, books, beverages, electronics, and so on are being imported into this country. Now, the third one is raw material. These raw material are some of the raw material we export to these developed countries, like tin from Jos, Columbite, equally from Jos. We export these things. Copper, lead, zinc. All these things are raw material that are being exported to these developed countries. Now, the fourth one is finance. Finance. You know, I told you some countries come here to invest. Finance, insurance, and banking. Many countries come here to bank with us. Agricultural commodity, that is the fifth one. We have agricultural commodities we export, like rubber, cocoa, coffee, and wheat. We don't export wheat, but there are other African countries that are engaged in exporting wheat. But the one we export is rubber. Now let's quickly also look at the Nigerian principal trading partners are one, Benin. We trade with Benin, international trade. Togo, Ghana, South Africa, all are in Africa. We trade with them. Two, the UK, Germany, France, Norway, Italy, all these ones are in Europe. You can see Nigeria is so involved in trading with so many countries, and that is why it is called multilateral trade. Look at another trade. The third one is we trade with USA and Canada. There are other countries, which are many. The fourth one is Japan, Australia, China, India. We trade with India. We have a very close trading partner with India. Now, students, all these trading things we've already, international trade has problems, have hiccups here and there. Problem of international trade. We are going to look at some of the problems of this international trade. Balance of payment. What do you understand by balance of payment? There's always disparity in the price of commodity, because most of the commodity we export are raw materials. These raw materials, when they buy our crude oil and when they bring out the petroleum from it, their money is always higher than ours. So you find out that there's always disparity. The price of manufactured goods from advanced countries are always higher than the less privileged countries, that is, less developing countries. So all this has ever been a problem to us, particularly the primary products we export. If you look at oil, a barrel of oil, compare when it is refined and brought to Nigeria, they tell us it's higher, always higher than that of the one we exported. Now look at number 2, language/political differences. This thing has ever been a barrier. Differences in languages between countries hinder the operation of international trade. For example, Francophone countries. Nigeria is an Anglophone country. We speak English. Trade is always difficult, transaction with this. Trade is always difficult. And political differences. For a long time, if you look at some countries that have been having political differences, you will find out that coup here and there, all this affects international trade. No country will want to come and trade with countries that are not politically stable. 3, differences in currency. For example, if you look at differences in currency, in Nigeria, we trade with Naira and Kobo. In USA, they use dollar. In UK, pounds and sterling. It is difficult to convert this currency into the currency of a country that you are doing business. Normally, it's always a problem, this currency conversion. Political instability. Political instability has been frequent change in government, like, for example, coup d'etat can limit the volume of trade between two countries. This can limit the volume of trade between two countries. If you look at it, where there is problem, no country will want to trade with that country. That is that. That is political differences. Now, students, I want you to carefully look at the assignment I'm going to give to you. I will read them carefully, and I want you to look at them carefully and answer them. 1A, define international trade. Define international trade. This question I'm giving you, they are probable questions in your SSC WAEC. B, list 3 importance of international trade. 3 importance in international trade. 2, list any 2 countries in Europe that trade with Nigeria. List any 2 countries that trade with Nigeria. B, 2B, mention any 2 of each product that are carried along the routes. Primary route. Mention any 2 of each product that are carried along the route. You know, I told you we have primary product and we have manufacturing goods too. So look at them. 1, primary products. 2, manufactured product. You list 2 each. The third one, but not the last, is enumerate any 4 factors limiting international trade. What limiting simply means hindering international trade. What are the factors that hinders international trade? Students, please, I will repeat this assignment. 1A, define international trade. 1B, list 3 importance of international trade. 2A, list any 2 countries in Europe that trade with Nigeria. Any 2 countries in Europe that trade with Nigeria. B, mention any 2 of each product that are carried along the routes. That are carried along the routes. 1 of the products, we have primary products. 2, we have manufacturing products. The third one is enumerate any 4 factors limiting international trade. Students, these are some of the references. 1, Essential Geography by A.O. Owen. This textbook is very, very important. Essential Geography by O.A. Owens. 2, Tanus Geography for Senior Secondary School, Book 3 by Joseph Ibu Ubla, Dr. Eno and Itobo, Ibian and Mrs. Esakpo and Eno Ibian. These are the authors. Please look at these books and try to read them carefully. All these things are there. The third one is, and my name is Kamal Adamu Garba, with the telephone number of 080 3861 9143. My name is, I will repeat, my name is Kamal Adamu Garba, 080 3861 9143. Thank you.